Yeah, one thing that I and was the retail. I saw manufacturing and
Sure.
communications.
You're exactly right. I didn't focus a lot on retail. Retail is going to be more of a function of our general overall economy. If we've got a prosperous economy, there's going to be good retail sales. But having said that, you're right, I didn't focus on that. It's almost, I don't think a lot about retail. In my line of work, I don't recruit retail. If we have housetops with income, retail will come. But I hear what you're saying. I didn't look at it in terms of if you're business oriented and you have a retail, I understand. All I know is that our retail sales are down. But it's interesting, the retailers that are thriving are ones that do need to sell some fries with that cheeseburger now to survive.
Yeah.
Because the cheeseburgers that cost you a lot less, you need to, add those extras on there. But it's interesting with the companies that we have seen thrive, they've either have a very strong governmental focus, or they've got products that are not necessarily hard products like a computer or hard drive, but the companies that offer, say, web services or software that allow companies to be more effective and efficient in their operation, and also, in many ways, be closer to their clients. I think in retail, it's always tough. Work, in many ways, have a retail operation. We try to connect with them as often as we can, but it's really hard. Sometimes our members don't want to connect with us as much as we want, or they're not prepared at that certain point in time. As a retailer, it's really important for them to understand that you're there to help them and that you're there to answer their questions down the road, whether it's transmissions or design services. The key is not what can you do for them directly, but how can you provide those wraparound services and advice to make that product be even more productive for them. I mean, with Don, it might be what I try to do with design services and contractors, it's not, can you put up a building or design a building? Well, yeah, you can do a great job. A lot of people can do that. But can you provide those services to make that building the most efficient that it is? And that's why, and then you start to differentiate. Retailers, some can sell you a product at a low price, and some can sell you a product where you can wrap other products around it and also provide advice, which is like a service, to enhance your product and make their purchase more valuable. So it's a matter of what we're trying to do now is talk more to our members, and what we're doing with our sustainability efforts is to make ourselves more of a partner with our members, more of a partner with our clients, and make sure that they remain our client. And hopefully, as we grow value, they'll grow we can grow their revenue base. But it's a value, to me, it's an all value proposition. But I'm not a membership and they don't let me get close.
What you're saying is that folks who are providing services have to prevent themselves from becoming commoditized, and people who provide commodities have to learn to become service providers.
Yes. I mean, it's funny. I can see your Amazon, I see your blue shirts. You fix that transmission, is advising the person how to break in that new transmission or that repair. Come back if there's a problem. Here's what you do to not have to come back and see me, although you hate to say it, but you got to tell that client, I care about you and I really don't want to see you, but I'm there if you need another one repair.
Well, we have a 10-day. You have to come back in 10 days anyway.
Yeah. Down the road, if they have another car and there's a problem, you want to see the repeat business. And that's...
And this is a tremendous problem for me, is finding good people to work. I have hired people when I'm being fired on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And and most of the people I give you in this area are not who actually can do the work and have the experience to do the work are not from here. They drive long distances.
Yes.
And that's pretty a problem. It's a tremendous problem. I had no idea when I started this business that I had that problem. The education we have is not the education to do the practical things we have every day. It's best out of repair.
Well, auto repairs, HVAC, plumbing, electrical repairs, these are all industries typically that are going to have some level of certification that says I'm capable of providing this level of service. And it's interesting, I was looking at service providers, plumbers, electricians, their employment's still very strong. It's because any day they can go out and get a job. Someone's always going to need a repair or something, but the key is you have to have that skill. And that's one thing that we're trying to do with our education and workforce development is to educate our students in high school. Actually, we start in middle school and say, listen, there are many ways for a student to achieve their potential. A little Maslowian logic, but the key is for them to understand what is they like, and if they like something, how can we translate that into an occupation? All occupations are honorable, and we just need for them to understand how does doing something really relate to their internal demand or drive, and for them to understand who they are. And there's some computer programs out there that help them understand what areas or sectors or occupations that they're well suited for, and just trying to get the student to better understand themselves and what they could be doing, but also for them to understand, there's a career in this. You might start out working for you, but in 10, 15 years, you may have your own shop, or you may say, transmissions are great, but hey, I understand mechanical stuff. I may move into other areas as well. And that's what we're trying to do with the students, is help them understand the opportunities for lifelong learning and career path orientation.
And problem-solving skills.
Oh.
That's what's missing. So if this avenue doesn't work, just find something else. They get stuck. They don't know how to, look at the whole machine and how to
Sure.
Sort of put things together. And that's something that's hard to teach someone.
It is.
It's just so hard to teach someone to have that problem-solving capability.
And sometimes it's even with the owner or your client, is sometimes something isn't going to be brand new when it's done, because it may be a 12-year-old vehicle or a 12-year-old product, but it's to help them understand what are other options out there. Do you get a new transmission? Do you get a rebuilt one? You have to be able to tell your client what the options are. And not only what is the problem, but what are their options. You're right. Critical thinking skills is probably one of the most important things that's needed in the workplace, as we saw in one of the many slides early on, is being able to work in a team and also understand what their role is and take on responsibilities and solve problems. But anyway, yes, ma'am.
You mentioned a couple of sectors that are growing in Durham, like life science and advanced healthcare
Yep.
and informatics. Are you seeing new businesses being created or existing small businesses growing?
Both. And I'm seeing existing and even larger companies growing. I'm seeing new companies being created and growing, and I'm seeing existing industries flourish. I mean, clearly, you look at advanced healthcare with Duke's announcement of their new cancer center, expansion of their hospital, that's $1 billion. But there's going to be 1,500 construction jobs, 1,000 new permanent jobs, but also Duke has a lot of subcontract opportunities out there, and there are opportunities for folks to do fiber optic wiring, which we're working with a company on. There's a lot of other spin-out opportunities. But one thing we're seeing, like in the life science industry, which includes R&D, includes manufacturing, and whether it's drugs or even medical devices, we've seen a lot of startups come out of Duke or UNC or State that are now ready to sell their first product out in the market in medical instruments. And it's interesting, it's not a forceps, it's not a scissors. A lot of it is geared back towards informatics and electronics. A lot of these are like we've got a company in Durham that allows you to operate on your intestines by going through the esophagus, through your stomach, and then into the intestines. So there's no exterior wound. That's a long path, and that must be really bizarre, but you've seen a lot of the surgical techniques change, laparoscopic surgery, where in the old days, if you had to remove your gallbladder, they cut you open pretty much from top to bottom. Tremendous opportunities for infection that way, tremendous opportunities for for a lot of discomfort for the patient. Once you get a lot of air in the body cavity, it's very tough. Bleeding is huge. It's just a huge operation. For a lot of folks, they couldn't survive